Greetings and welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name is Jeff, and I'm joined, as per usual, by my good buddies Richard
Hello.
and Michael.
Howdy.
Michael is wielding the microphone like a young Roger
I'm
Daltrey.
I'm swinging it around like Morrissey.
Yeah.
In my back pocket, I have all these I have like begonias.
So Richard and Michael, they debate and deliberate the most ubiquitous aspects of many topics, and this time around, it's going to be a topic that Richard came up with. Richard, what is it?
It is the Mount Rushmore of ripoffs.
Oh boy, what provoked this?
I don't know. I must have been thinking.
Empty Happy
I
Meal.
must have.
No toy in your Happy Meal.
Yeah, I must have. I know I was thinking about stuff that just costs way more money than it should.
Yeah.
It's like, these things are ripoffs, and it just kind of stuck with me.
Yeah.
Now, as we were discussing this before the show, to open the Komodo. Yes, open the Komodo. The dragon gets opened up.
Extinct Animals was last week's episode.
I'm sorry. We were talking about this on our Facebook group before the show, and it could be, you could interpret this to be ripoffs as in things that cost more than they should, or ripoffs of things that are cheap imitations of something else.
Oh, okay.
So we decided that either one of those would work. They're both kind of related. They both leave you with the same feeling of kind of just feeling big, disgruntled and unhappy.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, before we usually do a halftime check-in, but I want to see, maybe we can experiment with doing this a little bit earlier. You know, it's not a ripoff, the amount of money you pay for the Mount Rushmore podcast, because that amount is zero. So what a great value. You give your time, and we're appreciative of your time. But we would enjoy it and appreciate it if you did us a favor and profit even more by downloading more episodes, so you're getting even more for your non-dollar. And go ahead and rate and review those episodes while you're at it. That would be a super great thing. You know what? Reviewing is part of this new consumer culture. The consumer has been empowered, I think, even more than ever before through Yelp and such things, and Angie's List, to leave their opinion about things that are ripoffs and not. Do either of you guys do Yelp or do that kind of stuff?
Well,
no, I try not to.
You know, I work in the IT department now, and every time I use a Microsoft product, it's constantly asking me if I'd like to recommend it to a friend, and it's like, what data are you gathering from this? There's not one time that I've clicked a 5-star or a 1-star. It's immediately closed. Like, why do you want this sort of information? You could be rating episodes of the Mount Rushmore podcast, which is much better.
And it's also, you said Microsoft, but if I give a 1-star, will people stop using Word, or will they probably all still use Word?
I don't know.
I think
it's an even better value of this podcast too that's already free. Listen to it on 2x speed. You can get twice as much in for the same amount of time you're spending.
Your investment of time is less.
Yeah, we're saving you money.
Yeah.
Or download the episodes and don't listen to them, and then, boy, you're saving a ton of time and a ton of money.
So yes, the review is an aspect of, I think, this culture in which, Amazon is. I live and die by the reviews on those things, and I look around for somebody telling me whether something's a ripoff. So, Michael, what's your first ripoff?
Okay, my first choice is movie theater concessions.
Okay,
yeah.
Every aspect about getting something to eat or drink at a movie theater. It's funny, as a kid, maybe it's, just over the years, it's just gone up in price so much that it has just become so exponentially expensive that you're just kind of dull to it now. But as a kid, you'd go in and maybe it was, $1.25 for a junior mints when you can get them at the store for 50 cents. And that's 2.5 times as much as it normally costs, but it doesn't seem that bad. But when when you're buying junior mints now for $4 for a box that you can get for 75 cents, it feels like someone has just ramped it up to the point that it's not fair, and it's not fun to go get candy or popcorn. Popcorn costs nothing. A giant thing of popcorn that you can buy, a big Orville Redenbacher tub of popcorn, costs $3.99, $5.99, but then you're paying the same thing for a giant bucket that costs pennies. And I think that there is just like a disgruntled feeling that you already have going into a movie that, I don't know. I've been to one movie in the last 2 years, and that was with you, Jeff. And I can't remember if I got a soda or not,
Yeah.
or a candy or anything. But every time I go in, I feel like I need to beat the man, and I need to sneak something in because it's such a giant ripoff.
But Michael, you get
Yes.
get free refills with a large.
Well, I don't drink that much soda. You mean popcorn?
Well, that's or the
I don't
popcorn.
need
Either
that much.
one.
I don't need that much of either of them. All I really want is like my box of Milk Duds, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's how they get that's how they get you. Michael, that's how they get you.
One thing that has aggravated that pain of spending $17 for a small from Mike and Ike's for candies that's not even great other than the Mike in the name is the fact that the line has now been at AMC divided into Stubbs members and non-Stubbs members. So you get to that front of the line where you're about to get gouged for 3 times the ticket price for a Coke and popcorn. And then somebody else gets to go ahead of you who hasn't been waiting as long because they're a Stubbs member, because they got conned into paying $12 extra for a year or something like that for that card. So, it peeves me so much. Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
I would say that if they try to trick you, like Richard said, with like the unlimited popcorn, or they try to sell you the Doctor Strange in the Mouth of Madness, or in the multiverse of madness, collectible bucket.
Yeah.
All this, but like at the end of the day, it's just popcorn.
Yeah, I also say, like, are they really? Because movie tickets are still hecka expensive. So where are they really making up the money? What are they trying to make up the money?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Richard, what's your first?
All right, so let's talk all things soda.
I love it.
And we can go 2 ways with soda ripoffs. One we could go is with the ripoff brand. And I'm specifically thinking of any of your Dr. Pepper products.
Oh, yay. Okay. Oh, so ripoff means like a false version.
Dr. Thunder
Dr.
would
Thunder.
be the Walmart version. I believe that the Ralph's Kroger version is Dr. K.
Mm-hmm.
They all keep this, and they're all keeping the Dr. something name.
Yeah.
Even if
except Mr. Pibb, who is still trying to get his degree.
Mr. Pibb has been disbarred from most states from practicing medicine. So there's that. But I guess the bigger ripoff is much along the same lines of what Michael said. When you go to McDonald's, and McDonald's made a big deal a few years ago about you could get any size soda for $1. Like this was like a big deal. You could even get the jumbo large sized one for $1. So you pay $1 for it. Do you know how much that actually costs McDonald's? If you take into effect everything, the soda, the carbonation, the syrup, the cups, the straws, the amortizing, the repair cost of the soda machines, buying the soda machine, it costs them 10 cents per soda. They're making 90 cents profit on every soda that they sell. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's how they make their money. It's like McDonald's. There are 2 things they make money off of: are French fries and giant sodas.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is kind of
what are we doing?
Everything else is just sort of stuck there.
Why don't we start the Mount Rushmore franchise
soda machines,
fast food chain?
Well, that's what we've been working towards. I know that's another thing we've been talking about in our little Facebook group. Is how do we start our own fast food business with our 3 mugs, kind of the Manny, Mo, and Jack of greasy hamburgers, kind of the crusty burger of the podcast world. But no, it's whether you're and I drink soda, and I bought a Soda Stream with the idea being you buy it, you spend $150, and then all you need to do is get your canister refilled every couple of weeks. And boy, you can buy some syrups, and boy, for just pennies, you'll be making your own delicious soda. And the Soda Stream could be a rip. The Soda Stream could be a ripoff in and of itself.
Now, is this a threefer? You got three here. You got the phony Dr. Peppers.
I'm trying to sneak as many of these in as I can.
Oh,
I'm trying to get this in under your nose.
I was just writing down notes, I wrote down fast food soda, and I was like, now I don't know what you're angry about.
Fast food profit.
Let's let the Dr. Thunder was a mere transgression.
Okay,
The little detour on.
What about the Soda Stream?
Well, I'm trying to explain.
Workshopping a one-man show.
Yeah, I'm like a Eric Bogosian over here. I got the mood lighting. I'm smoking a cigarette.
Judge. Your Honor. I object to this line of reasoning because I don't know.
All right, approach the bench.
I feel badgered. I'm not even the witness, and I feel badgered on this topic right now.
I just bring up the Soda Stream because I'm pointing out what a sucker I am.
Okay.
Because I know that I should be using the Soda Stream because it would be cheaper. The problem is it's an immense pain in the ass. You got to keep buying all your syrups. You got to go into your Bed Bath & Beyond to exchange your canister of CO2. And it never works. So just... Guys, don't drink soda. How about don't drink soda? That would be the best. But I can't do that. But I can't do that because I'm addicted to soda. So we're stuck.
What I like about this scenario that you've created is you have just envisioned this huge ripoff ecosystem where you're going to get a soda, but you end up getting the knockoff ripoff soda, and so you're kind of mad at that, and so you end up going to the fast food joint to get your Coke. Yeah. And then you go there and then you start thinking about the cost of it. Then you end up going to buy and make your own soda because you're so angry about being ripped off a second time in a row. And at the end of the day, you can't make your own soda because you're out of CO2 cartridges and the syrup's passes expiration date. And so you're back at the 7-Eleven trying to find like a Dr. Pepper, but then all they have is, Dr. K or whatever. And you're just what a horrible cycle of hell that you live in with the soda purchases.
I'm telling you. Now, am I suggesting that Big Soda are the biggest ripoff artists in all of corporate America? Possibly.
There's a fun site, I guess a page devoted to knockoff Dr. Pepper brands that are a lot of fun. Big K, Dr. K, the Kroger. That's the Kroger brand.
Yes.
So, yeah. Food for Less, Smith's, Dillon's.
I see a Dr. Bob here.
Dr. Bob? Wow.
Yeah.
Country Doctor? Oh, dear.
Nice.
Doc Holliday, Dr. B. I'm looking for Dr. Schnee. I don't know where that was that I saw that, but there was something at Dr. Schnee, which is it was a product of Vess that predated Dr. Vess. I don't know where.
I see one here that's Dr. A+.
Wow.
That's the doctor you want. He did well on his boards.
Yeah. The Ed Wood one is Dr. Acula. Dr. Acula. Okay, now I envision a merging of these your first two choices, where you go see to the concession stand and you get a knockoff soda from the concession stand, and you're like finally satisfied with the price because it's affordable. Then you go see the Transmorphers.
Yes.
Or Store Wars. Well, the movies are knockoffs too.
Jeff, you've perfectly segued into my next choice, which is Transmorphers.
Oh, the Transmorphers.
Nice.
Michael, go for it.
Oh my God. Well, it's the 2007 The Asylum production, Transmorphers, which is one of those like direct to DVD or on like the Sci-Fi Network.
Wow.
Kind of not quite a parody, kind of not quite a knockoff in that kind of realm.
Is it?
It's not faith-based. They're the same company that made Sharknado. So I think the only faith that they have in is that you're going to spend 92 minutes watching terrible CGI and bad acting. And it looks like it was, filmed, not even on a green screen, like just You can't even afford the green screen. But, Transmorphers was a movie about these alien robots that come down to Earth to try to take over the Earth some 300 years in the future, where the human race has basically killed the environment, and now it doesn't matter. The plot of the movie doesn't matter. The characters don't matter. What matters is that the movie poster, it's called Transmorphers, and it's supposed to be Transformers. They're
Yeah.
hoping someone accidentally
Yeah.
watches it.
Yeah.
They see the movie poster, which is in the same sort of blue and red and yellow that looks exactly like the Transformers movie poster, which is blue and orange and yellow. And it's there's a moment where you're like, they're not even trying to hide it. I think that there are some ripoffs that are just like, hey, it's not Transformers. This is clearly Transmorphers.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, but I mean, we're really just splitting hairs on like on like spelling. It's like you've used it's used like the dictionary or no, the thesaurus to basically be like, okay, what's a different word for transform? And it's like, okay, transmorph. Got it.
Look, it stars Mark Wahlberg
Exactly.
and Shira LaBeouf. Come on.
I've never seen this film. I've barely seen one of the original Transformers. There's nothing that is going to get me to watch this film or its sequel, Transformers: Fall of Man, which I think the thing too is that it came out like in the same year as Transformers. It's just basically piggybacking on a fame, and I think it's really hoping that someone doesn't like some stone person doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they just happen across it and they're like, wait, 17 minutes in, where's Bumblebee? Before they finally give up on it.
Could there be any chance that a screenwriter was just somehow clueless to this whole
No, because you mentioned this was Asylum, and Asylum is notorious for doing this beyond they do all the Sharknado movies, I think, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But do you guys remember there's a movie called Battle Los Angeles?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Battlefield and then Los Angeles, right?
It was just Los Angeles.
Okay.
And it came out in 2011. Also coming out in 2011, brought to you by Asylum, was Battle of Los Angeles.
Oh,
see.
Which was...
It's a fine line between clever and copycat.
It is. They call them mockbusters. And they are basically very similar ripoffs to existing movies that are going to be coming out at or around the same time. And Asylum is particularly good at this. A friend of mine from college actually had a small part in Battle of Los Angeles. So that was fun to watch. But
it's two very dear friends of mine that write scripts for Asylum, and there's very genre. There's an outline. There's all this stuff that they know that they have to write a very affordable. They have to write it based on trend and I would imagine.
Yeah,
they take it very seriously though. They know what the product is, but they are very invested. In their work, only to have Antonio Sabato Jr. improvise the dialogue on the day of.
Hey, Antonio Sabato Jr. is a groundling. So
okay, all right.
No, he's not. He's not, Jeff.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So Richard, what is your second choice?
My second choice, and this one actually came to me while we were talking during the show, so this is kind of an audible here. But miniature golf courses.
Wow. Okay.
There's a place golf and stuff. Not and stuff, it's golf and stuff down somewhat near me in Norwalk. And they have, it's your typical, they have 3 different courses on one property, however you want to call that. You want to take a stab at how much a round is to play there?
$5.
Oh, higher. You're not even in the ballpark, Jeff.
Michael, you gonna take a stab?
Well, I don't know if we're going to go Price is Right style, or if
Yeah.
I'm going to say
Oh,
like $6 and just get slightly closer before I fall off the
$20.
edge.
Not that much. $14.
Okay. Okay.
It's $14 for you, and there is no
Ooh.
discount for being a kid.
Oh.
Oh,
So it is $14 per person to go play 60 minutes of miniature golf. And I found this is fairly typical for most of your miniature golf courses. The prices are just getting higher and higher. And it's not like the courses are these, we're not talking Augusta National here. These courses are not being well maintained. I mean, they all have like the carpet starting to
Yeah.
rip up, and one of the
I mean,
holes is
yeah, some of them
beat
have like a
up.
hole
And,
in the top and it goes down to another course on the bottom and you don't even know where your ball went.
and
It's
sometimes you put it in
shameful.
the side hole and it goes in one place, and you put it in the middle hole, it comes out another place. Where's the
Has
fairness in
supply
that?
has supply chain interrupted the orange rubber putter supply, do you think?
I don't know
Is
if
it
it's
going?
that or or if the cost of stealing a bunch of range balls and coloring them in blue, pink, and
Uh-huh.
orange
Yeah.
has gone up. I don't know what it is, but yeah, if I wanted to take me and the two kids to go play around a miniature golf, doing a little back of the napkin math, that's $42.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, you could see a Dodgers game for that, or you could do something
Yeah,
better.
I could if it was like an afternoon game, especially in the summer when it's hot. I
Mhm.
could absolutely go to a Dodgers game for that much.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. It's just
Yeah.
stupid.
Okay.
I'm
And it's a
over it.
it's a
I
rip off financially, but is it also a rip off from an experience standpoint? Is it a substandard course? Is it kind of you saying it's kind of worse for the wear?
I think I've yet to go to a miniature golf course that's not worse for the wear.
Yeah.
I would just say that that's a general rule that all miniature golf courses have at least one hole that's broken, where
Mhm.
like it's supposed to be like some sort of windmill and the windmill doesn't work anymore,
Yeah.
or one of those like trap doors that kind of goes open and close, but now it's just stuck open.
Yeah. Dead possum in the water feature.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's actually the old dead possum course.
Oh, sorry.
So that's actually a planned feature.
Yeah.
But no, it just $14 a hole around. I can go to my local par three and play a
Yeah.
round of actual real golf for
Okay.
less than $14.
Okay.
Something is broken in the system here.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to our commercial break. And the commercial is a commercial for this podcast. Listen to the Mount Rushmore podcast. It's not a ripoff. And so we don't sound like a couple whiny, privileged white males, or, to take a break from that. We always will sound like that. I'm going to challenge these guys to a quick fifth round. And that is going to be something that is an incredible value for what you pay for it. And it can't be sentimental, like, I don't know, the love of my child, or something like that. It can't be like that. Something you pay for, but it's like money well spent. So while these guys are thinking about that, I'm going to implore you, our listening audience, to go to MountRushmorePodcast.com. That is the best place for you to bathe in the genius of Richard and Michael. These guys for 6 years have been coming up with fun ideas and opinions, and they've been joined by stellar guests who have graced us with their brain thoughts and comedy ideas for the last 6 years. So go to MountRushmorePodcast.com, and then maybe even share that out there on the socials with your loved ones.
I can go whenever you do. You want me to do this incredible value thing, or are we doing it at the end?
We do it at the end. You can do it whenever. Or first got to
throw
come.
mine out here right now. I'm gonna throw it right now.
Boom, Winfield.
Because I don't want Richard to come in over the top. And,
Sweet. Okay.
Sure.
A postage stamp.
Postage
Sending a
stamps.
piece of
Postage
mail.
stamps. Postage stamps.
God.
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
He
Richard
said
says
it 3
postage
times,
stamp.
which means the postage stamp monster is going to come out of the mirror now and kill us.
Postage
go ahead.
stamp. Now, how much does that increase during your lifetime, Michael? What was it when you were?
Well, it's currently 50 cents, which still is not that much. As a kid, I remember it being maybe a quarter, maybe 20 cents or something like that. Nothing too crazy. I mean, 25 cents and 50 cents feels pretty much like the same thing these days. I mean, if it ever gets to $1, I guess, but that feels like it's still, whenever the USPS does increase prices, it like goes up by like a nickel, and that will be in like 2 years. So it'll be
Yeah.
55 cents. It'll be like, okay, who
Yeah.
cares? But I don't know, a quarter or 50 cents to mail a letter that somehow gets across the country in 2 to 3 days, and it doesn't, for the amount of mail that they do send, uh, what 95% of it gets through.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking good. I mean, for putting down 2 bits,
Yeah. And
4 bits.
considering the rate of the express shippers and things like
Yeah,
that, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that is, we would consider that a subsidized thing, right? I mean, it's not like it's still how much you pay for it directly.
exactly.
But
I mean, the government, spends, billions of dollars to subsidize it, but who cares?
yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. Okay, Manfredi, you can choose whatever you want.
Sure. My choice is the Kroger/Ralph's brand boxed macaroni and cheese.
Oh, cool. Okay.
If you go and you buy the
Boy,
Kraft
did not see this coming.
if you buy the Kraft macaroni and cheese, you're spending $1.79, $2 a box.
Okay.
The Kraft the Ralph's brand is like 59 cents a box.
Yeah.
And I would argue it's actually better because the cheese is more chemically.
Okay.
Because if you're getting boxed macaroni and cheese, you
Wait, you
want it
like the
to taste
chemicals?
good. Well, that's what you kind of want boxed mac and cheese to taste like.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You want the
You know
fake.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fake. It's the orange is oranger. I don't know. I think it's a superior boxed mac and cheese to Kraft mac and cheese. And
Okay.
it's like a quarter of the price.
Oh my God. I would just love if somewhere the food scientist who came up with the emulsifiers and the whatever they call orange 72 coloring is hearing this and just like finally getting his due, or her is standing up from
Yes.
in their hovel under a bare light bulb,
A
stepping up.
salute to the food scientists of
Yeah.
the world.
Okay.
Feels like that's turning into like a 50s short before a movie.
Yeah.
Food scientist of the world.
While the nation sleeps, food
Yes.
science of the week. So you did a pretty quick turn on store brands there with
I did.
yeah.
Not all store brands are bad. Because I don't think because they're not saying it's not like it's carved macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Or it's not like it's even, the same blue box or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's clearly a different brand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So cool. So Kroger/Ralph's mac and cheese is the good for its value. Okay, Michael, what's your third ripoff?
My third ripoff is the moment in the movie A Christmas Story where the main character gets his little orphan Annie secret decoder ring and starts setting the dial on it, and it turns out to be a commercial. He just codes the secret message, and it's be sure to drink your Ovaltine. And when he has just this sudden realization that he has spent all this time drinking Ovaltine and saving and hoping and sending away in the mail to get this thing that comes in the mail, and wanting to be part of this this grander secret, and decode the secret message, and it ends up being, as to quote, a crummy commercial. And just what a tremendous ripoff that this kid has felt at the age of like 10 years old, that he has spent all this time thinking that he was going to get something bigger, only to be just like, they're just selling me the same stuff that I'm already drinking.
Yeah.
It's just such a great realization of like just how life is, and how corporations are, and ultimately you're being controlled and under their thumb and all this stuff. But
Well, that's
what a great
I
moment.
find that interesting because I think it's it reveals the investments and how much you are losing when you're becoming ripped off. So if you're in a movie theater, you might be just losing financially a little bit of your wages, but Ralphie has had weeks and weeks and weeks of of energy and thought and time put into this thing,
And
and
imagination and
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
he just lost his career as a super spy, because he realized this thing's all fraudulent and so
When I
forth.
was a kid, I remember, you used to be able to save up like the UPC codes from the back of like GI Joe
Yeah.
action figures, and you can cut them out. And if you had like 5 of them or 10 of them, you could send those 5 off or however many it was, plus $2.50, and you could get like the secret character. But they showed you the secret character that you were going to get.
Mhm.
I can't remember the name of them, but they showed you the one that you would get. This is the opposite of this. It had like this. Even though he knew he was getting a secret decoder ring, he thought that there was this additional promise, this additional special thing that was being unlocked, and it just not so much, kiddo.
I went in the height of my drinking days. I went to Mission Tiki Drive-In to see some movie there and paid extra for like the unlimited margarita. um, the margaritas were very limited by the speed in which the long ass lines for everybody who paid for the unlimited margarita,
Oh my
and
God.
the slow pace for which they were being served, and the fact that most of the machines broke instantly. And I just remember thinking there's rip-offs that you feel like kind of a dumbass for getting. You really have nobody to complain.
Right. You should have known better.
Yeah, you should have
You
known
should
better.
have known better.
You just look like a drunk asshole if you're complaining about it.
Michael, this reminds me of the Founders Cup Walkapalooza that we went to. Is with Disarmageddon when they had the
Okay.
all you could drink wristband
Oh,
at the bar at the Flamingo, and we got it, and everyone else like used it like the night before to get shit faced, and we decided to use it after the tournament. And we went in and there were like 4 people, and the free margaritas were like in these little 6-ounce cups. So you'd have to keep going back up and get a different one. And they all sucked. And we were exhausted. And I think we left after 2 drinks. So I think I probably got about 12 ounces of margarita for my $30 I paid.
oh, geez.
Yeah, that feels about right. I I seem to recall having the exact. I mean, obviously we're there, and I remember it exactly the same way. It was very disappointing. It was very much, there were like these barely alcoholic slushies that tasted awful, and it was mostly like sweet and sour mix, and you're just like, "Mm,
And I remember feeling like I have to power through this because I paid for it. And then
yeah,
we had a
yeah,
couple, and I was just like, I'm kind of ready to go to bed now. I'm not going to kill myself. I'm going to, there's a sunk cost fallacy that's happening here. And that sunk cost was my margarita.
All right, Richard, what's your third
All right. My third
rip-off?
choice are my third choice for ripoffs are oldies bands with no original members. Now, there's 2 different varieties of these.
Oh, this is so funny.
One of them is the oldies band where you started off as a 4-piece, and then a couple years in, the drummer left. You replaced the drummer, made a couple of albums. Then the bass player left, and you made a couple of albums. Then the singer left, and then you replaced him. And then eventually, you just get to the point where everyone has played on an album or has been involved with the band for a while, but nobody is like part of the original core lineup.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Is this
like that.
is this like the Vision, like Ship of Theseus thing?
Yeah, it's exactly. Once you start
Yeah.
Frankensteining a band together, at some
Mhm.
point, if there's no original parts left, is this actually a band, the same band?
Yeah.
So there's that, and I think that's at least that happens organically. There's the other one where an unscrupulous promoter decides I have the rights to use I have the trademark to use the name of this band or this
Mhm.
singing group. And often it's like oldies, 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
kind of Motown bands or that kind of generation. And so I'm just going to hire 4 guys to come in and be the Drifters.
Mhm.
And we're going to promote them as the Drifters because I have the rights to the name to it. and people are going to come and they're going to have a good time, and who really cares?
Yeah.
There's a guy named Larry Marshak, and he is notorious for this. He had managed to claim the trademarks of the platters, the coasters, and the drifters. And he would send these groups around the country as billing them as the coasters or the platters, or whoever it happens to be, the drifters. And you would go see them. And if you were paying attention and you were close enough, you'd go, wait a second, this band is from the 60s. It's 2022. They're in their 40s.
Yeah.
Something is going wrong here. And he actually got involved in multiple legal battles about this. Actually wound up making its way to the Third Circuit Court, where they determined that he actually had to stop using the Drifters name in business because the widow of the manager and founder of the Drifters was more entitled to own the trademark, and what he was doing was basically a bait and switch.
Mm.
Now I'm kind of curious about this because, like, I saw not Earth, Wind, Fire. I saw Kool and the Gang over 4th of July at the Hollywood Bowl this year. And I appreciated that, and they're a big group. They have like a whole horn section and the whole 9 yards. When they introduced everybody in the band, they made sure to point out who was still like an original member, and there were like 3 or 4 of them in the band, including Kool is still in the band. So I appreciated the transparency. But I thought to myself, if none of them had turned out to be original members of the band but had put on the exact same show, would I have felt ripped off after the fact if I found that out? I don't know.
For sure.
I probably would.
It's like if you went to go see the Beach Boys, but the only one was like the racist Trump supporter one. Like at some point, like, the research is like on you to know who you're actually seeing. But I don't know. I think there's a difference between it being like, I think they just kind of start turning into a cover band, and at that point you have to change your name from like to like Kool or the Gang, or like or it's if it doesn't have an original member, then I don't think it. I think you're right. I think it does feel like a big ripoff. I think it does feel like it's not something that you're not paying money to see the coasters. You're paying money to see like the coasters.
And it affects when there's actual living members of the band who would like to be performing as the coasters, and aren't able to do so because they don't have the trademark to the name.
Yeah,
So
or like as you said, the family of persons who should be making some kind of royalty off.
Most of these guys from the 50s and 60s got ripped off so badly anyway that just to see them continue to get ripped off, it's bad. I want to quickly tell my favorite ripoff band story real quick. The band The Zombies, Time of the Season, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Actually, when Time of the Season came out in '69, they had actually been broken up for a couple of years. And the label, they had this like half-finished album, and they put out as a single, and it became this surprise huge hit in the United States. So some promoter got the idea that since the Zombies weren't going to be touring anymore because they were broken up, I'll just put together my own version of the Zombies. And it was this band that was they were all based out of Texas. And 2 of the 4 quote unquote zombies were Dusty Hill and Frank Beard, who later went on to become the rhythm section of ZZ Top.
Oh, that's funny.
Which, if you could think of a band that sounds less like the Zombies and probably who have accents less like the very British Zombies than ZZ Top, I would be hard pressed to find it.
Maybe that's where the Z's came from in the thing. I don't know. Zombie
Top. Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's that interesting thing to bring up. The ripping off part of the music industry usually is done in the direction of the person's creating the music, but now the audience is the one who's were they to desire the veracity that you do, Richard, when you want to see a group. I think for some people who go to those summer outdoor amphitheater shows, they don't even know. They just have season tickets. They don't even know who's playing. They just know that they have a box of wine and they're going to
Yeah.
drink it outside.
Yeah, I'm sure that you as former MC of the Starlight Bowl have presided over perhaps you've been party to a couple of these ripoffs, Jeff.
Yeah. Well,
I suggest.
they were always had a different name, but let me just say, like, I saw the same guitarist every week throughout the summer. He was the Doobie Brothers. He was Benatar the next week. I think he was a Thompson twin at one point. So
Well,
yeah. So
maybe he was part. Maybe he was part of Richard. We were both in line with like one of our late picks, because my fourth pick was the band The Muppets
fun.
from
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
from the movie. What was it? Muppets Most
Muppets.
Wanted? No,
Yeah.
No, just
just
the
the Muppets, featuring Miss Poogie and Kermit and Janus and Rolf, and of course Dave Grohl as Animal, and the original member of the Muppet, Fozzie Bear. And I just thought it was I like these moments, Richard, when we've had these simpatico feelings on like what a ripoff is, whether it was like fast food, like soda and consumables, or whether it's like music, and just the feeling of like this fake kind of, if you look at it the wrong way, you might think you're seeing the Muppets, but then you're at this crappy casino and it's actually just these grungy kind of scumbag versions of them, which I just thought was great. But until of course Fozzie ends up getting kicked out, and he's replaced by just another scumbag version of
Right.
himself. But yeah, I just I feel like I could just echo everything that you just said, or that we'd both been saying about just like when a band isn't quite what you think that you're going into seeing, and it's kind of a, a dingy version of it. You're just disappointed.
I've also experienced that thing where the original guitarist isn't there, or somebody's playing kind of a somebody's falling short in the music department. And you realize, oh no, that's not Robert Klein on the guitar.
Right.
That's their touring guitar. So that's the poor guy who just wants to make a buck, but he's not. He's the person on stage. You look around, and you probably everybody in the room, including the guy who's playing the guitar, wishes that it was the real guy. and
Right.
yeah, but that is an interesting thing. I've in a couple instances, I don't know if anything in particular here we've talked about is a gift, because I remember as a kid, I imagine there were many kids. I remember seeing in like a National Enquirer or something, an ad for karate turtles. They weren't Ninja Turtles; they were karate turtles, and they were wearing gi. They were not very similar to Ninja Turtles, but it was exactly the thing that a grandmother would mistakenly give their kid for Christmas or birthday, and the kid would be horribly disappointed. And I realize you could still be disappointed as an adult, but in some cases, these things, you ask yourself, does it really matter? Well, it's a little kid who wanted a Ninja Turtle. It sure does. Okay, Richard, what's your last choice?
My last choice is not the lovely buffalo cauliflower bites that I just was delivered by my oldest kid.
You got them kids trained pretty darn good. Bringing
I know they
the
know
Lord of the Manor his food.
they know what's up.
Yeah.
My last choice, Jeff,
Sir.
Michael.
Uh-oh.
We've been doing this for 6 years, right?
Oh, we've been ripped off.
How many times have we been ripped off by another Rushmore podcast?
Every year, it seems, or 6 months.
Here, let me. I just opened up my Pocket Cast player. So there's us. If you type Rushmore in, we're the first choice. Yay us!
Finally,
nailed it.
We're number one. You've got Rushmore podcast, Rushmore Wrestling, Rushmore 4, Rushmore Sports Betting podcast. What's your Rushmore? Movie Mount Rushmore, the Mount Rushmore podcast, the Mount Rushmore podcast, Johnny Hartwell's Mount Rushmore, Pro-Wrestling Rushmore, the Mount Rushmore of everything. Do I need to go on? And I know this for a fact because when we started this podcast, we looked to see if there are any other Rushmore podcasts. There were not. So either of these people are creating a podcast and not checking to see if there's anything else that's basically the same topic with the same title that's already like going for a while, or they just don't care and they're trying to muscle into our space.
Yeah.
I've had enough of it. For one.
I like your anger. And as a white male, you are...
I'm full of it. I'm full of anger.
Full of it. I would say you also indicated, did they look around? The technology and the ease of getting a podcast on is so... It's so easy.
Right.
That I could bet that you didn't even have to look around. They just thought it and did it. In some cases, thought it and did it, or maybe they think it has become a commodity now. It's like almost like Letterman started with the top 10 list, and then they would do it on a commercial for Gap khakis or something like that. It just became like a thing.
It became a trope.
Yeah.
Which is the other part of my equation is, of course, Michael and I kind of ripped this off of Bill Simmons.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Of course, yeah.
So,
100%.
So as angry as I can get about it, I can't get that angry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I almost feel like sometimes is it the imitation being the highest form of flattery, or do we think it's... You know what? It's not, though. It's never intellectual artists who are ripping us off. It usually seems like a bunch of boneheads.
Yeah. It's a bunch of guys wearing trucker hats. Yeah. And all of their episode art is the same thing. It's the Mount Rushmore, the actual Mount Rushmore, just with their faces badly superimposed in front of Jefferson, etc.
Yeah.
It's always the exact same thing. I don't know if maybe it's just hive mind, but I was really happy when we came up with our art that we did something else.
I agree.
That's all I'm going to say on that.
I would also want to ask, how many episodes do they last before they go, we're not rich and famous yet, and then they leave?
Yeah, most of these have about 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Oh, yes. Too dumb to quit.
Yep.
So I want to thank you guys for responding to my request to, put out a positive one out there. And I would say life is probably just as full of those things that seem like a good value as much as the ripoffs. And boy, considering the state of the world between Ukraine and Shanghai, we're all doing pretty good over here. Whether we're paying a lot for jujubes or not. But last week was a pretty heavy Michael score, and this week I think it's going to lean into Richard. But I do think it's funny that we kind of flip-flopped on. Michael was kind of in the world of entertainment for a lot of his stuff. It really only the postage stamp being the positive one was kind of outside of the world of entertainment, which I thought was kind of interesting. Richard was kind of all over the place, and even using the shotgun method, where each time he came out, he had about 4 different things. So
I had a lot of opinions on this one.
Yeah. So I like that you went there with recognizing that authenticity matters. So number 4, your 4 was your 4 was ripoff bands and without the OG members. So let's put that up there, because folks, be wary. Read the fine print before you go off to the summer jam. And it's Peter, Paul, and Larry on stage. And let's go with Richard's food, Dr. Pepper knockoffs, because I think that's a lot of fun. And let's see what else. I really liked, Michael, you bringing up a kind of our First Amendment rights. And you know what? Kevin Costner should make a movie about this. So even though it's not in the category, I'm going to go with postage stamp, because that was a really nice, squeaky clean, positive statement in there. So maybe that's unorthodox because it's a choice that's not on the original list. But I'm also going to go with Richard's 4th, which is rip off Rushmores, because fuck those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screw them. But I wanted you to know that I'm not the original Jeff. The original Jeff left
Well,
the
yeah.
podcast in 2017. But it's been
Haven't missed a
such a
beat.
pleasure. What's that?
Hasn't missed a beat.
Yeah, it hasn't missed a beat. This has been the Mount Rushmore of Ripoffs. I'm Jorf.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.
He always takes us. He's such a tease. I just think he's gonna play our